maybe it's like, you know, we have the kid, it's born, and the first thing, really independent thing we hope it does is maybe say daddy.
Yeah.
Or hopefully, well, I'm a dad, so I would say that. But hopefully say daddy or mummy, or actually I think food is pretty common.
Yeah.
So there are these nascent words that happen are the first thing that we teach children, and before that point it's relatively uncontrolled what they learn by feel, by touch, and the other things. And in terms of thinking in an AI context, perhaps it is as they get past daddy and they get to the letter A or the letter B, suddenly we're becoming specialists, we're developing one part of the brain. My feeling is with AI, we're only developing fractions of brains, just the letters. From a programmatic point of view, how do you teach a machine to learn that, just in brief lines?
Well, it's very hard to teach that, and that's why we use the data to help us break down. And we use an awful lot of data to basically understand very basic things, recognizing shapes, recognizing words, recognizing sequences of instances of things happening. This is how we build up the knowledge. But just taking your point about a 2-year-old, and that's why I tend to think it's 2 rather than 3, is because it isn't personal at the moment. The AI is very impersonal. So it's rather, like we were talking about earlier, it's robotic. There's a detachment from, this is a machine and we're the human. Whereas it progresses and gets older, we'll realise that becomes more difficult to work out the differences between AI and ourselves, particularly on basic tasks.
So it's like Siri not understanding my bad grammar.
Yeah, absolutely, which she does quite regularly.
You've seen me experience her. Okay, so that's very interesting. So we have to basically program our computers with AI to be all the same without actually catering for a single individual. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying in principle, yes, but I think that all lines are going to sort of converge at different points in the future. And I think this is really important to understand, is that the AI is evolving into saying individual areas of specialism, but as time goes by they're going to join up, and that's when the power of AI is going to become sort of all-embracing and a lot more interesting and a lot more that we can relate to and therefore feel less fear of, if you will.
But we need to do all those individual lines. It's not like we're going to teach every kid to learn German, French, Spanish, Russian, Hindi and all these other languages available. We teach our kids to learn maybe 1 or maybe 2 or even 3 languages at a stretch. But we still use the same framework of letters. And we use that letters framework to get them on the road to words. We use the words framework to get them on the road to language. And we have to think of AI as just at the start of that place.
Yeah, absolutely. And not forgetting as well, Louis, that AI is learning in multiple locations. And so, for example, I'm here learning, we're having these conversations, we're talking about AI. And so, but obviously AI is learning in multiple locations. So I'm learning in the street here, I'm learning in the upstairs, I'm learning downstairs, I'm learning in multiple locations. So my learning becomes, if you will, it's embryonic at the moment, but it's going to become exponential. And that can be also quite alarming. But on the other side, it can be quite interesting in terms of the speed of the learning and the complexity that comes from that will allow us to eventually reach this sort of simplicity idea that actually AI is very natural in the way it performs its various functions.